throughout a successful 23-year career in radio with the Wendy Williams Experience. Syndicated nationally, the show aired on WBLS in New York and had an audience of more than 12 million people. She is also a dedicated philanthropist and founded the Hunter Foundation with her husband, Kevin, to help improve the lives of children and families around the country. This summer, the Hunter Foundation launched Be Here, a national awareness and call to action campaign to fight drug addiction and substance abuse. So now I'm very pleased to present the 2018 NAB Show New York Impact Award to Wendy Williams.
Well, I must tell you, first of all, that award weighs more than Caroline. It's very heavy. It's always nice to get an award, but more importantly, it's always nice to be acknowledged. With an award or without an award. You know, the little articles that are suddenly done in magazines, the little notes and mentions, when, you know, my show puts the ratings on the desk every damn morning. I gotta look at the ratings. I don't look anymore. Just like, how are we doing? How are we doing? So anyway, Rum, how you doing? This simple, stupid phrase that has launched 10 seasons. Plus the 6-week sneak peek, which is in 2007. I will never discount that. You know, when we talk about 10 seasons, that means 2008, our first season doing the show. But Morton Ira, Debmar Mercury, Mark Marcus, and Ira Bernstein sitting right here in front of me, staring at what a mess we've made. And yes, what a mess you have. I cannot be more pleased at the partnership. They're the ones who called about wanting to do a show with me. And I was simply on the radio in New York at WBLS. And back then, there was, this is 10 years ago, or 11 years ago, I guess 12 now, it was streaming. So you were streaming and spying on me, streaming and spying. But you know what idea they had that so many people don't? Instead of just developing a talk show and then dropping the host in the middle, they wanted to develop a talk show with a host that already had a following and make the whole show around the host. So I'm like, okay, I've heard this before. Because I had, you know, I was a pretty big deal in radio, you know, and by the time I met Morton Ira, and I remember what I was wearing when I came to you guys, and I was up until like 11 o'clock last night looking on the internet for the picture of our meeting, because I remember I was wearing these really long, skinny jeans, and I had on a white blouse that was tied up at my waist with a sliver of skin, 5-inch heels. This is back when I wore heels, and a giant Birkin bag, and a short blonde wig, and red lipstick. And I was just coming to you like, all right, here we go again. Another talk show. But you know what, you guys? Within a matter of a year, right? Within a year, we got everything done. We were on TV. And Morton and Ira, Debmar Mercury, they wanted all this. All of it. And so, this is the only way I know how to be, is Wendy. I appreciate this Impact Award. I do think that our show has made a great impact on daytime TV. Probably one of the most influential ones, but never really discussed. So since you're here, let's discuss. Since when are girls wearing eyelashes on daytime TV? And crinoline, you know what I'm saying? And full bronzer, and a romper. They weren't doing this 10 years ago. They weren't. And Morton Ira, I know, you were like, oh God. But thanks to proper management, okay, and proper encouragement, and a little dieting, I became more confident with myself and wanted to show more leg and more. By the way, I got the results of my mammogram as I was getting dressed this morning. Everything's good. So the boobs stay. You decorate around them, my co-host. What about the show? You know, there are quite a few people on the show who've actually worked with me most of the 10 years. And the problem with any TV show, whether it's a sitcom or a talk show, is that people are not given the proper time to develop the show and connect with the audience and connect with their people. Like, there is such thing called crew love. My crew, I know all their names. I'll never forget how shocked they were. Oh my gosh, I'm calling them their names. They're like, huh? Like, yeah, hi. And now, 10 years later, they know how to swing those cameras and get those shady camera shots. They know exactly what to do, the shoe cam, the whole bit. My producers, many of them have been with me, all through the time. David Perler jumped on as my showrunner. The runner of the show, David Perler, and quickly jumped in and kind of got the voice of the kooky of the show. I can only be me. And the important thing I believe about having a successful daytime talk show is the audience has to have patience and the staff and crew have to be on point. I was doing an interview with a young lady yesterday, not lying, truth, from Boulder. And so she said, I'll be honest, I didn't know who you were. I didn't know anything about your radio career or anything. She said, I didn't know who you were. A young girl, like one of these millennials. And then she said, yeah, you're right about needing time to develop a base. I said, yeah, do people down your block know did they know who I was 10 years ago? She said, no, Wendy. And they're still wearing loafers and slacks. And I'm not a loafer or a slack. So how are we gonna connect? Because a 6-week trial, when we did it in 2007, that was successful, but it was also in progressive places. Detroit, Dallas, LA, and New York. These are progressive places. To be doing well in DC and Atlanta, I'm grateful. But these are also progressive places who already knew me from radio. Like, I was a rock star in radio, and so there are people who already knew me. But, and however, we all know it ain't gonna fly if the woman named Becky in Boulder doesn't know who I am. And I can't be like you, and you don't even have to be like me. I only ask 1 hour a day. Can we just get out of our skins and make each other laugh? We don't do politics. I'm not here to hurt anybody. I'm here to laugh and giggle. Our show is glamorous. It's funny. It's unpredictable. If a celebrity wants to come by, fine. If not, we've wrangled our show into nothing but hot topics and Ask Wendy and a couple of shoe cams and a little, what are you wearing today? And like that. And that's what I love about our show. Our show is based on us, me and my co-hosts, which, by the way, co-hosts are different than audience. Audience look flat on TV, and I'm a fan of daytime TV, so I'm not just doing it. I've been a fan since Dinah Shore and Mike Douglas. Oh yes. But however, when my audience comes, they wear everything sparkly and they wear that tiara for their birthday, and they'll have on the crinoline because they know I love it and they secretly love it too, but can never wear it around their friends because their friends will make fun of them. We're all inclusive, all here, and all real. Thank you so much for the award.
And now it's Wendy Williams on stage for a
and I love it. And I knew it would be so obnoxious to wear something like this. Mort and Ira would be upset, but they let me roll with the punches because we're in season 10. There's a certain formula.
I think the chairs are kind of Wendy-ish.
The chairs seem to let go of radio to totally focus on TV, but I just thought I was too much for daytime TV. The corniness going on. I'm not talking about that. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to wear that. More Ira.
You know, I gotta say, I mean, there's been so many shows that have been tried since Wendy that have all failed, and everyone, of course, believes the show they're bringing out is the show that's gonna work, but she's the real deal. And so when she says she watches daytime TV, no, I'm saying she watches daytime TV. She is a fan. So she's the real deal. And that made a big difference.
Well, I knew what I was walking into. You know, I knew I was walking into a landscape that might not know an irreverent black woman with an education and a point of view, for real. And I could only be me. And Martin and Ira took the chance. I always feel like our show is like Noah's Ark, even now. I feel like we're like Noah's Ark, guys. You know?
Do we need a bigger boat?
Don't talk. Because after the chairs, I'll be asking for a boat.
Now, Maureen and Ira, what was it about Wendy that you knew you could pluck her out of radio and that she could lead her own TV show and it would work?
Well, I don't think we knew anything for sure, but I think the one story we tell that we literally met for breakfast before we went to pitch Fox the very first time, and it was about a 3-block walk, and as we're walking down or up 6th Avenue, there would be a cab driver that said, "Hey, Wendy," and then there'd be a doorman that would say, "Hey, Wendy." There'd be Con Ed guys. We literally walked by, there was Con Ed guys that were yelling at Wendy. And as we walked there, it was like she literally was a black Mary Tyler Moore. And everybody knew her, and all of a sudden it hit us, she's on radio. How do they know what she looks like? She's on radio. And so I guess the lesson was that she connects with people, and that's a rare thing. And she had a point of view, and I think when we walked into Fox that fateful day, we just sort of told that story, and we let Wendy talk about what she wanted to talk about. And what Wendy said, which was true, we wanted to do the show that she wanted to do. We didn't create a show and say, now could you do this? We said, what do you want to do? And we formed the show around that, and I think that was what made it work.
Can I just say also, before the talk show, like Ira was saying, that my radio show already had it, Wendy. We were already doing celebrity gossip, but we didn't call it Hot Topics. I needed a name. I'll take it from The View, whatever. But we needed Hot Topics. The Ask Wendy's were lighter in the beginning. Would you agree?
I would definitely agree.
And now?
They're a little hotter.
They are hardcore. That's what comes from giving a show time on TV, and then you become a household name and a friend in people's heads. And I honor that, honestly. Look, I do this show from a place of honesty. As best I can.
Wendy, you are always very honest, and that's what we all love. That's what gives you 10 years, right? I think it's that authenticity. Is that what you think has given the show staying power?
I think it's the authenticity, the realness that she is who she is, and the fact that the show, because of her, has a true point of view. The shows that don't work, and they litter the highway, and we've done plenty that haven't worked as well, they don't have a strong enough point of view. She has a real point of view. It's the real thing. She's the real deal. Not many people can do what she's doing.
Now, you are the only daytime talk show host who comes out, and it's 20 minutes. It's just you going through.
Excuse me, Elizabeth, 23.
23. I was just corrected by Wendy Williams, and gladly. So, is that tough for you to do, or could you just keep going and going and going and going?
Wait. We have to put commercials at some point. So she would just go the full hour, but we can't do that.
Well, that's the pace of this.
Hot Topics was only 8 minutes when our show first got started. For the first couple of seasons, it was 8 minutes. Then, when we were trying to gear up, I think for season 2 or 3, Perla, then it became 12 minutes. And then it became maybe 17 minutes. And now it's 23 minutes, no commercials. I come out, I scamper to my chair, I fluff with my clothes, and I sit and I talk about the celebrities. And it's a very nice conversation, but here's where that comes from, Elizabeth. I feel like a conversationalist is not something that you could make. a true conversationalist is actually born that way. You know, I come from Jersey. I come from a household where we were forced to have conversation without commercials. So, but I'm very grateful for that 23 minutes. And I have no idea where you guys stick the commercials, but we gotta pay the bills. And then we come back, and then there'll be maybe an eye candy or something, and then we get into Ask Wendy. And in the early days, Ask Wendy was, my husband wants cream chairs for our living room. I really want black chairs. Wendy, what do you think? I'm like, well, what color are your walls? Well, they're white. I said, well, why don't you guys get together and go to a furniture store or something like that? This is season 1. Go to a furniture store and have somebody coach you. Now, the questions. Wendy, my husband and I want a threesome. We've been married for 20 years. We are now empty nesters. How do we do this? And I always... and the answer is? Okay, I won't give you the answers, but I've given plenty of those types of things. People who've watched our show through surviving breast cancer, people who tell me, you know, Wendy, my dad is 90 and really sick, but I go to see him every day, and our appointment TV is you. I don't think the Wendy Williams show is a color thing anymore, even though I know I'm black, you know, and that's first and foremost. The Wendy Williams show is a thing. It's a thing. Gay, straight, black, white, Indian.
That's really true. You know, we used to tell stations early on, if you would just turn around and just listen to the show, it's colorless. There's no color in it. It's colorless. And it's really true.
Was there any pushback when you were pitching the show at all? Or?
I would say, well, look, to start with, Fox was all in from day one. So I give them all the credit. They're our partners. They've been with us literally since that first day of the pitch. They did the test with us. They've been there every step of the way, and they couldn't ask for a better partner. As for the rest of the country, yes, there was pushback. They couldn't believe that they didn't know her in Kansas City. And it was a black show, and therefore we had to convince them that it was going to be broader than that. And there were a lot of battles, and we fought them, and here we are.
And over time, it works all over the country. It doesn't matter what kind of city it is.
Now, you spoke about the change with the open, of bringing it from 8 minutes to 23 minutes. What other changes have you implemented from the time that the show started?
That's the biggest change, because it affects the whole flow of the show, since you're taking 23 minutes of content at the top. But after that, we usually have a celebrity, and sometimes, as you know, we do pop culture panels, and we do Ask Wendy. It's kind of the same thing.
I would say, along with 23 minutes of Hot Topics, which I adore, and we don't always have celebrities. They can either show up or not, and they better fix their face when they get there and have fun with us. But what I will tell you is that the media wall in the back is a huge difference. And we moved our address. We used to be on 53rd Street in Hell's Kitchen, and now we're on 26th Street in the fashionable Chelsea, where, you know, our studio is more
Expensive?
Yeah.
Bigger?
and all that.
Do you think that the show could work anywhere else but New York?
You mean live from Dallas? It's the Wendy Williams show?
I just feel like your show, I mean, it is Wendy, and I know you're a Jersey girl, but it seems like you have that New York energy.
Yeah, I mean, it could work perhaps someplace for a week, and we'll be talking about maybe spending a week in Miami, or, you know, how these shows do. But no, the beat of the city is the beat of the city. You know, I've been a broadcaster for over 30-something years, and most of my bones were made right here in New York. New York, New York, no matter what goes on. Scaffolding is falling, people are getting shot and run over in the street. But my city is my city. And it gives me the energy to come here and just get into it. So, and also, New York is a destination place. Live from Houston is not destination. say you're not flying from Cincinnati to go to Houston, but you'll fly from Cincinnati and Houston to come to New York and have a fabulous time with your friend in your head, Wendy. You'll wear ridiculous clothing, enjoy restaurants in Little Broadway, and then you'll fly back. That's all.
The only thing I'd say is, as an example, this summer, Wendy did a 10-city sort of promotional tour in August, leading into the season 10. And she would go to a city and they would do some radio and maybe a TV thing. But then at night or later in the afternoon, they would have a live event space where people would come in and Wendy would do a little bit of stand-up and maybe some Ask Wendy. And every city, the line is around the block. It's not New York.
Which was amazing to me because I'm not a comedian, but people tell me I'm funny. But we did Ask Wendy's and the whole bit, and it was real. That 10-city tour was really exhausting, but very worthwhile doing. I love to be out amongst the people and see exactly what people are doing. And I don't think that talk show hosts, particularly in daytime, need to give up on that. You need to get out and see your people. Stop getting in the car and running to, Craig's with your fancy friends. I don't have fancy friends. Well, some, but not really.
How has your life changed the most since going from radio to broadcast? Because obviously, as Mort and I just shared, when they were pitching the show, everybody was stopping you. But now you have been on TV every single day in people's homes for 10 years.
I feel wildly more confident about myself physically as well as professionally. I am fearless. When the show first started, I was all about the black tights and cardigans to cover my arms and things like that. I lost 50 pounds for my 50th birthday and have kept it off, and it makes me feel so much more comfortable being out there. You know what I'm saying, Elizabeth? People staring at you on the TV. Who knew fashion would be part of the show? So all of a sudden, all right, number one, I feel fearless. And then number two, I feel more, in a way, like an introvert in my personal life. Because I always feel like people are up to something. What are you going to do? Call Page 6? Are you going to call Wagmeister and tell her something? I'm not going out with you. I'm going home.
I would never report anything but good news on you, Wendy. We're big fans of Wendy at Page 6 TV.
No, but yeah, I've become more of an introvert in my personal life, which is very, very helpful because I wasn't much of a socialite even with radio time. It's just that, I had to go out and do things with radio. Now, I don't have to go out all the time for the TV show. So when I have to go out, I go out, and I always want to make sure it's going to be a lovely room like this. Then I want to go back home, and I want to mind my own business. I'm not on the phone gabbing with girlfriends who, what are you trying to pick at? What are you looking for? What are you looking for?
Now you call your audience your co-host.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a bit about that? Because you really, more than anyone certainly that I watch on TV, you truly do know your audience. You know your viewers so well.
Yeah. People these days are trying to include their audience in their broadcast. Alas, you know that there's only one co-host audience, and that's on The Wendy Show. And they're my co-hosts because I knew from radio how vibrant and how much the audience really has to offer. I was doing a 5-hour, and then it became a 6-hour radio show. A 6-hour radio show at WBLS during the latter part of, my radio career. And the phone calls would be more interesting than another song. Let me get these people on the phone. Let's talk. So, and I was able to draw things from them. And so, yeah, they're not an audience. They're co-hosts. And they dress the part. And they look the part. And they work their part. And they come back. We have so many frequent co-hosts that come back. And then I'm watching, another show on TV. And I'm like, isn't that my girl? What's she doing in the audience? Mm-mm. Wait until I see her again. I get jealous. I get possessive.
And they really do line up every single day, hours before. If you go to Wendy's studio, it's a line around the building every day.
Even through hurricanes and things like that. Mort and I, I've been waiting for the day And I know exactly what I'll do. I won't tell you now. It'll be a surprise. But I've been waiting for the day when the weather is so horrible that nobody's able to show up. And the lights are dim. But Marilyn will know how to work something out. And flip a switch, work something out, and watch how we do the show. Suzanne Summers came to our show. She was a guest on the show a few years ago. And she showed up in a blizzard. I totally didn't think she was going to come. I barely thought the audience was going to come. When the double doors open, that's my first time seeing the audience. I see them with you. So sometimes I do get emotional. I'm a crier. I'll cry, run, scamper. I get nervous. But not only did we have a packed house that day, but my guest for the day, Suzanne Summers, showed up. Now, there was a big giant snowdrift outside. So she asked for security to carry her in her manolas, over the snowdrift. But she came. She came.
So I have a question about your celebrity guests. You obviously say it how it is, you don't hold anything back, and clearly you're not scared to talk about anyone. If they're worthy of talking about, you'll do it. Have you ever had a celebrity guest who doesn't want to come on because of something that you said about them?
Next.
Or do they respect you more because you say it how it is?
Here's my thing about celebrity culture, and I do like the celebrities, who come one, come all, whether you're Kevin Hart or, Lucy Hale or, whoever these people are out here. Come to our show if you want to. But Elizabeth and everybody, honestly, and Morton and Ira, you know this, our show was built off of being new. Celebrities didn't know me, regardless of my skin color. When they fly in from LA, or when they're doing their press junket, they go to the safe places. They go to, those two, or that one, and they feel safe. In the meantime, not realizing that our audience, we're the tastemakers. We're the cool ones. And if you don't want to come to our show, fine. Then we'll do more hot topics. Or spice it up with a double dose of Ask Wendy. And I love the Hot Talk panel, which you've been a part of. The Hot Talk panel and things like that. I love celebrities, but our show doesn't come to play. Yes.
Where does your fascination in pop culture come from?
Since always. My mother used to smoke Merit cigarettes, and she would drive us to the family pharmacy in my town in New Jersey and send me in to get her cigarettes and tell me I could keep the change, and I'd buy the National Enquirer. Well, honey, I was only like 5 or 8, something like that. And that was back when Liz and Richard were all over everything, and Debbie Reynolds was screwing around with Richard, and it was just a mess in Hollywood, as usual. And I would pour through these tabloids. I would love them. Love them.
Now, Morton and Ira, since the show has launched, the TV landscape has changed immensely. Has there ever been a time that you felt like you needed to change something to keep up with all of the streaming, all of the competition, also social media?
I actually know, because I think, particularly in daytime, it hasn't changed that much. And I think the secret to what the success of the show is, which is Wendy being authentic and being Wendy, you can't fake it, and it doesn't matter if you stream it, watch it, cable, broadcast, whatever it is. Wendy ran, we had a repeat run on BET many years at midnight. It was their #1 show for like 6 or 7 years. It runs in other places. The issue is, it's Wendy being Wendy, and that sort of cuts through whatever the media is trying to do. It's not a drama.
For me, the way syndication works and the way the Wendy Williams show works, because it's on 5 days a week, it's sort of DVR proof. So, the networks in primetime run a show and half the audience are watching it a week later. But with Wendy, they're watching it every day, and if live. And so if you miss it, you come back the next day and then it's on again. So the concept of it being 5 days a week actually, in a way, protects it from the streaming world of what's going on. I mean, it's all there and it's all happening, but I think for the most part, by being live every day, it's kind of put it above the fray a little bit.
because if you're a Netflix person and you watch your shows during the day, you can watch it at 11 because Wendy's live at 10.
And also at 4.
And also at 4.
When I first, they first told me what the show was supposed to be in terms of we're not taping it, it's live, I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Because anything can happen with live TV. I've been on TV, I've done stuff before, I had a show on VH1, cable show, incorporated with my radio show and stuff. But this is live TV, this is the big time. What is going to happen? And I push my own doors open, remember? I push my own doors open and come out and just be smiling, knowing if you fall, if you say the wrong thing, and it's live. But the convenience about live is at 11 o'clock, because you're live at 10, at 11 o'clock, I could be at the Whole Foods by 11:15. And if they need anything from me regarding the show, you got my phone call, Perler. Just call up.
And also, by being live, if you do go to the show, it's the most fun show to go to by far. And it is only an hour long, because at the end of the day, it's live, it's over at 11.
And you really are the most engaging host. You've had me on the show, thank you for that, and you have been so, I remember we were talking about Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright, and you were very honest. You said you didn't really care about it, as you do, and by the middle of the story, you said, wait, my opinions change, and you really listen, and you engage. You really do.
Well, an opinion is always something that I've had, but through the years of being just comfortable with just saying a little more, not hurting anyone's feelings. But Elizabeth is coming on with the Inside Scoop. Is that what you did, the Inside Scoop?
Yep.
And so she was doing a story regarding Kevin Spacey and Robin Wright. And I was like, I don't care, but you tell the story because I'm sure somebody does. And halfway through the story is what she just said, Elizabeth. All of a sudden I care. Wow, I care. I'm a woman, I'm allowed to change my mind. I do it often and a lot.
You're also a viewer, and I think that's one of the issues, and that's one of the things that makes it work, is because Wendy's you, she's your friend in your head, and so when you're watching and you're listening to her, and she's talking to Elizabeth, you're asking the question that the woman sitting at home wants to ask Elizabeth, and maybe the viewer felt like you in the beginning, but after hearing the story changed their mind too, and that's okay, because you're them, and that's, I think, what makes it work too.
Sometimes it's easier, I guess, if you're on a panel show, because you can throw the ball to your other co-hosts and things like that.
Not a shot.
But I must tell you, there is nothing, and I mean nothing, like having your own.
Now, I have a feeling that your answers may be different, Mort and I are from Wendy's, but how closely do you pay attention to ratings? Granted, you have very good ratings to look at, and they've grown over the years, which is also unheard of.
I would say Mort looks every day, I look every week.
Do we pay attention to what?
To ratings.
Oh no,
The number.
oh no, oh no, no.
That's what I thought.
I'm allergic. I'm allergic.
I obsess over them. I can't wait in the morning. We get them right around, normally in Los Angeles, around 6:30 in the morning, because they are driven from the New York office. I don't do anything until I see the ratings. I need to look at them, and that way I can see if there's any fluctuations on a daily basis. I get a sense if it's trending one way or the other, so I really am close to it. I can tell you probably every city, literally.
And Wendy, you just want to focus on the content and the performance and not be distracted by that.
I have to focus on the performance as a host, but also on the show as one of the executive producers of the show. I'm out there literally talking and looking at people and producing stuff in my head. I'm in that mode all day to the point where I can barely sleep at night, thinking about how to make the show better or bigger, or what I messed up with, or that could have been funnier, or I don't like that lipstick on me, or why did I wear that outfit? I mean, everything. So I have a tick in a different way. But ratings, no. Either we're here or we're not.
Now we're at 10 years, but that's a very good way to say it.
I'm just saying, so 10 years. What happens the 11th year?
I was going to ask Mort and Ira. We're at 10 years now, but looking back, when did you know that the show was truly a hit?
It wasn't I would say year 3, because we came out of the gate and there were about 8 Fox markets that were spectacular. And a lot of the places it was struggling. So we went to year 2, and some people downgraded us in the outer cities because it wasn't an instant hit. And then we kind of came back both creatively, and Wendy got more confident, the clearances got better. So by the time we came out of year 3, that's when we were sort of, we're going to be here for a while, as long as you want to be here.
You know what, honestly, maybe not that it would be as successful that it is, but for me, it was the very first day of the sneak peek test. And the reason is, and I remember because we did the test on the Monday, I don't remember the date, but on the Monday in 2007, I was on vacation in the Hamptons and waiting for the overnights Tuesday morning when we get them. Ira got a call from the general manager of the station in New York, who had got the numbers before we got the numbers, and said, "You're a winner." And that was it. It was huge.
In New York, it was a smash hit right away, and I do, as I say, I give Fox a lot of credit. Lou Leone was the general manager in New York Today, and he was the guy who started out with it. It was his baby from day one, literally. He went out, and I think he got like 500 buses to wrap them with Wendy. He did everything. This was his show too. It wasn't just, we didn't just sell him the
It's
show.
true, but
This was his show.
You know, when new shows come, they just generally don't jump out of the box. They take time. But this one jumped out of the box. So you kind of knew it had something.
For everyone on the panel, do you have a favorite memory from the past 10 seasons?
No. I don't. There are too many favorite memories, you know. People ask me who my favorite guests are. My favorite guests are my parents, because I didn't grow up exactly, you know, going to Yale and stuff. You know, just grew up and not problematic, but, you know, what will become of Wendy? So now when my parents come to the show, I'm like, look what's become of Wendy. Look what's become of her. So they're my favorite guests. To see our son, he's now 18. I remember him coming to the studio and running around, and also, I have no favorite memories. The guy from the Smithsonian with the big plume pen who came and inducted me, I'm the first daytime talk show host to be in the Smithsonian. It's not Mike Douglas or Dinah Shore, those people, not Oprah, it's me. And they called and they came and we did a celebration on the show. That was a big deal to me as well. What else? No, every day is a celebration. And when the feeling catches me, I let you know. I will cry, I will laugh, I will roll around on the ground, I will wipe my teeth, I will lean to the side, and I feel no ways about it, because in actuality, I just feel so comfortable in front of the camera and in front of my co-host. Not in a Broadway way, or I want to do movies, like, you know, be a movie star way, but just in a, man, I'm just Wendy. Let's go.
Well, I think, look, for me, I think there isn't one thing, but look, it was our company that, you know, we started a few years before Wendy, and then finding her and dealing with her and Kevin and putting it all together. We go to these Christmas parties and Kevin makes a speech and it's kind of fun, and it's a family, because we grew up together, because our company was much smaller when we started. And I think we kind of appreciate each other in a different way than if we were a big studio and she was the talent and we negotiate the deal and let's see if we can get an extension for 3. It's not about that. It's about living our lives together in this world.
You know, what stands out for me is a different thing, and it says everything about Wendy. But it was about a year ago when she fainted on camera live, and we are live, as everyone knows when that happens. And literally, the director cut to commercial. Wendy had fallen down, and we were like, oh my God. And when we came back from commercial, Wendy finished the show. That was unbelievable. That was unbelievable. I think that says a lot about who she is and why we're still standing 10 years later.
It's not just showing up to do the job, it's showing up correct and being ready to do the work. And there's a whole lot of coddling that goes along, I must admit. When you have your own talk show, But the real work goes into it. You gotta be a thoroughbred. And yeah, I got scooped up off the floor, I'm backstage. Jerry O'Connell.
Here, stand her up.
Jerry O'Connell got on a pair of tighty whities and that guitar from Times Square, playing the guitar.
It was a Halloween show. He just wasn't in.
It was a Halloween show, yeah. Baby, Baby, who's engaged, the rapper. Baby is backstage, like, is she gonna be okay? And all I could do was come back and say, look, all right, now the show is over. That was not a stunt. People still think that was a stunt. That wasn't a stunt.
I remember watching that, and we were very worried as well. And when you came back, I said, that is a pro. That's a pro.
Or stupid. But immediately I did make my doctor's appointments and so on and so forth. And I did end up taking an unceremoniously 3 weeks off to get myself together during sweeps, I might add. During sweeps. Yeah, but still.
Now, Wendy, I want to go back to something that you said. You said when you're in bed and you're thinking, and then you said, what about season 11? So, how much longer do you want to go for?
You better say at least 5 years.
As long as she wants to do it,
It
she'll
says
be
really the answer is what Ira just said. It's as long as she wants, she'll be able to do it.
Now your turn.
Well, I'll tell you, I want to stay as long as I can. I don't want to be kicked out. In other words, canceled. That's egg on all of our faces. Like, there you go. That's why you dealt with that girl, and now look what happened. Or me, canceled. I don't want to be canceled. I would like to leave on a high note. There are other things that I'd like to do in life. I'm already starting to do a lot of those things. My foundation work and, some acting, and just other things. I have other interests, and I've been able to develop them with the confidence that I know at 10 a.m. I know exactly where I have to be. My body clock goes off with no alarm at 5 o'clock every morning. I hit it though until 5:30, my alarm, just so I can lay and watch the news and relax and stuff. But no, I don't want to overstay my welcome. I'm not the 20-year on your talk show girl.
19?
I don't know her. I'll stay as long as I can hold myself together.
Thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you, Ira. And congratulations on 10 years.
That's it? I got through the whole thing and didn't cry. Wow. Thank you, Elizabeth.